Hey guys, up here on a hike. Get in front of the camera for a little bit. Sorry, out of breath a little bit, but I came across there's a little bit of wind up here, so I hope this gets through, guys. Hope this gets through. Came across a post on Instagram today. I'll put it up on the screen now. Where a half black, half Asian woman, 20-year-old woman, is talking about her experience. She's talking about how when she tells people she's Asian, no one believes her, or they take issue with the fact that she says she's Asian. When she tells people she's black, people seem to be more comfortable with her saying that she's black. She then goes on to say that the African American, Black American identity encompasses all things. It takes over. And she sarcastically then ends her quote by saying, "It's good to see that the one drop rule is still in effect." Earlier on in the Common Denominator channel, I did a series of videos called The Black Vortex. In The Black Vortex, we talk about issues such as this. Different aspects of culture. For example, we'll talk about this one today. I'll kind of glance over a couple of the other ones, but race, identity. If you have one black parent, you are black. You are not biracial, you are black. That seems to be the general consensus with black Americans. Some black Americans oppose that because it's illogical. But the black Americans who embrace it do so to what they see as the benefit of the community. Whether it's beauty standards, we like to just call them black because if they're pretty, then we can say, look, here's a beautiful black woman. If they're smart and if they're in the public eye, people can say, for example, with former President Obama, hey, he's black, first black president. When it benefits us, we use it. When it doesn't benefit us, we don't use it. For example, this is perfectly highlighted when it comes to black women versus biracial women. There's a big deal being made about the hair. Biracial women tend to have hair that has been incorrectly described and as being good hair. These are the leftovers from slavery, right? And from Jim Crow and from the brown paper bag rule and from all this other crap that seeks to destroy us mentally. All black people hair is good hair. All of it. All of it. I got African friends. I got a friend from Africa who's got great hair. He's straight from Ghana. His hair is great. Okay? So this idea of when it comes to beauty and standards of beauty, that's where you really see it highlighted. And that's where you see a lot of the problems. That's where this is when it doesn't benefit us, or it may benefit black men, but it may not benefit black women per se. Black men usually don't care about biracial black men. Most black men, there's really no incentive to being biracial. So, but unfortunately for black women, there's an incentive because of standards of beauty. Okay? So, because of the standards of beauty, you have a lot of black women who feel some sort of way about these biracial women, because biracial women tend to be a little bit lighter skinned and have features that are different, or quote unquote more agreeable, or they trend towards what is considered beautiful. Therefore, they are seen as somewhat privileged, and the way that black men react to them causes issues. It causes problems with black women, and some jealousy and some infighting and this and that. I would say, okay, so there's that. All right, so because of that, a lot of black women are hesitant to want to call these biracial women black. They want to draw the racial lines, they want to draw the lines, and they want to say things like, oh, they're biracial, or oh, oh, they're mixed, or this is why they're like this, or they'll even use inflammatory statements like, oh, when directing a comment towards a biracial woman who they don't like, they'll pick on them. You've heard the biracial women complain about being picked on and feeling like outsiders in high school, junior high, and they're not accepted as black at that point because of how they look. So some women are jealous and they treat them a certain way. So when it comes to that, they'll say inflammatory things like, oh, you would have been a house slave. Okay, something really disrespectful, or meant to hurt them or meant to cause division. And these sort of comments are meant to put her in her place, to make her not necessarily feel like she's better. They're not saying this to make her feel as if she's better. They're saying this to highlight the fact that she's different and to say that you're not one of us. So when it comes to the black vortex, the vortex being something of a black hole that sucks everything into it, the black community acts like a black vortex. It tends to want to pull everything toward it whenever it benefits it. But I don't think we're alone in this. I was watching I think it's a video on Hot 97, which is a radio show out of New York, hip hop radio show, and they had a Mexican American artist on there, and she's from Oakland, the Oakland area, and she was talking about, if you want to try to look her up, I don't remember her name, but she was talking about the term woke, how apparently she was the one that started this term woke, but a lot of black people feel as if black people started it. She started it, and apparently it came out of the Bay Area. So, but what she said, there's something interesting that she said. They got to talking about Mexican Americans and the plight in America, and then she said something really interesting that kind of piqued my curiosity. She said, during the census, Mexicans are counted as white people. Okay, so they're counted as Caucasian, but then if they commit a crime, that statistic goes down as being Mexican. They go down as being a Mexican. So you can see how the usage of that technique is there to benefit white people. Just like how black people with the black vortex, we use the identity of mixed race people, we call them black when it benefits us. Like, for instance, President Obama is mixed. So with President Obama, we're quick to say he's black, and we would love to say that he's black. He's got black features, yeah. A lot of mixed people do, a lot of biracial people do. But at the same time, if Obama were to, do something really bad, maybe one day people might refer to him as being biracial. So we kind of, so anyway, mixed people in a way are being used as pawns, for social capital, to elevate one's group, such as the census with Mexicans. And then when they commit crimes, they're called Mexican. So it doesn't hurt white people's social standing, the racial stats. So in the same way, there were some African Americans who actually took issue with President Obama being of not necessarily mixed heritage, but that his black father wasn't African American, and he wasn't of the same African stock as, say, African Americans were, we are mainly West African. He's from Kenya. He's East African. His father's from Kenya, so he's East African, and his mother's white American. So there was some issue with that, but people were quickly able to get over that because they saw the overall benefit in calling him the first black president. And then on top of that, he had a black wife, purely black wife, and black kids. So it made people more comfortable that as a unit, they were in the White House. So anyway, just a little talk on the black vortex and how it works. And here's an example of how it works and how mixed people can't determine their identity. How mixed people have trouble self-identifying, and we see it with this girl. We've seen it with Tiger Woods, and I got an update on Tiger Woods. I went to Thailand a few months ago, 5 months ago, somewhere 4 or 5 months ago. I was in Thailand on vacation with some friends, and we were in the city of Bangkok, and we were taking a tour. We were getting ready to do a river tour, and I decided to ask the Thai gentleman about Tiger Woods and if the people like Tiger Woods in Thailand. And he said, yeah, people used to like him a lot, but he publicly stated that he wasn't Thai. The same thing he did when he was the same thing he did when it came to the African American identity. He quickly said he wasn't black. Okay, and this hurt the Thais' feelings, and it also hurt Black Americans' feelings. And in lieu of saying he was Thai or if he was black, whenever people would try to identify him as one thing, the same as what this tennis player Naomi Osaka, when the Japanese, a lot of races try to pull this vortex thing, and it's social capital. Whenever someone does something amazing, so she won a championship, she beat Serena Williams. The Japanese just tried to call her Japanese, eliminating her Haitian heritage. She didn't like that. So the same thing with Tiger Woods. A lot of these mixed people, they just want to be left alone. They just want to have their identity, and they want to self-identify just the same way that transgender people want to self-identify, and these transracial people who are being laughed at, like Rachel Dolezal, who want to self-identify, they choose to identify the way they want to identify. Some of them identify as being purely black. Some identify as being biracial. I think it's up to them. But for us to try to push it on them, and then if they don't accept it, what happens is the black community tends to shun them. Okay? And then in this case with Tiger Woods, the Thai community shunned them. People view that as a negative. Like, you don't want to be a part of our group. So people are basically trying to make people choose sides. And they don't want to choose sides because they have two parents. Anyway, that's it for my talk. Common denominator. You guys have a good one. Peace.